Welcome to the ABC of Paranormal Strangeness.
With your hosts, Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours and Magical Solutions, and Anne Rekovich from Ozbaradek. We're your frightfully good hosts, and tonight we bring you the letter O for
The Omen
and Ouija boards. Stay tuned for another exciting episode. Hello, I'm ready. We're trying something new tonight. I hope that worked. Hi, everyone. I'm Anne. That's Renata. I'm just going to pop on the comments. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Mick. Hi, Leanne. How are you all? We're trying to keep our social distancing here because somebody was going to dob us into the police because we were 148 centimetres apart instead of 150, as you do. I'm excited tonight, Ouija boards. Who joined us last night for the watch party? We did a watch party on The Omen, and I've got your clip lined up ready for you tonight, Renata.
Excellent.
Who knows if it'll work, but we'll give it a crack.
So does that mean I'm going first or are you going first?
I don't know. Would you like to go first?
Oh, I don't care. I can go first.
Well, you go first then.
All right. Well, I have to press the little button before we go.
Oh,
so
there's buttons to press.
I know, right? Right. Just making sure.
Oh, that button.
Yeah, that button. All right. I better get my notes and be ready.
Hi, Trina. Hi, Brooke. And hi, Charlene. So tonight is not our tarot show. I'm just warning you all before everyone gets really excited. Tonight is our ABC of Paranormal Strangeness. Hi, Jody. Hi, Leanne. And hi, Jenny. Jody, Donna. Wow, look at all you joining us. Thank you for joining in.
Sharon?
Yeah, we're doing good. Thanks,
Vicky.
Sharon. And I think I've just about
Kelly.
caught up.
Hi, Kelly. Janine. Kerry.
Oh, good. Hopefully we'll make you laugh tonight. We've been in a bad mood this afternoon. Believe it or not, we have bad moods. We've been struggling trying to learn how to use computers and technology because this is what we have to do now. And we're getting really good at it. But there was a few little hiccups along the way, and I got snappy, and then someone else got snappy, but then we made love, and it was all fine.
You don't look at me. I had nothing to do with that bit. Nothing at all. Okay, so are we ready to go?
We are. So here we go. Didn't watch Omen last night. Only watched scary movies during daylight. Oh, bless you, Leanne.
Believe you me, it was not scary considering when it was produced and made into a movie in the 70s. It wasn't scary at all. Actually, some really, really crappy effects. We'll get into
that. But it was
in
in 1976.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So let me press the magic button for our podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us for this episode, you are here listening to the frightfully good team of Anne Rekovich and Renata Daniel, and we are talking more about the ABC of Strangeness. And this week, we are up to the letter O. And I'm starting off this evening, and I have my teacher's voice on.
I called it her kindergarten voice.
And we're going to be talking about The Omen. Now, as Anne said, we were watching The Omen last night just to refresh our memories and to remember what it was like and how in the 70s, and I know that half of you probably aren't even old enough and weren't even born then, but I was, what it would have been like to have... Shut up. No, I haven't. What it would have... been like to watch that show in the 70s, that movie, and be scared out of your pants. And then we watched it last night and just laughed hysterically all the way through it.
Do you know when I first saw it? In 1976, when I was in year 6.
Did you?
My mother took me to the movies to watch it because she really wanted to watch it.
Of course. That's what you do. How old were you?
11.
Wow.
Scarred for life. Hi,
Yeah.
Kathy. Welcome. This is the ABC of Paranormal Strangeness tonight. Our tarot show is on Thursday nights, but I'm glad you could join us. All right, let's get into it.
So The Omen was produced and made into a movie in 1976.
Sabrina T-shirt, yes.
And it there you are. And it was called a supernatural horror film, and it starred Richard Donner. Oh, sorry, he was the director. He was the director. Sorry, written by David Seltzer, and starring Gregory Peck,
hi Shane,
Lee Remick, David Warner, Harvey Stephens, Billy Whitelaw,
hi,
Patrick Troughton, Martin Benson, and Leo McKern. Right now, this is the story of young Damien, the Antichrist. Yep, and the plot follows young Damien Thorne in his early years as a child, and when he is replaced at birth by an American diplomat, unbeknownst to his wife, who has just lost her baby. Yeah. Well, and to try and, get her over, not even tell her that the baby has died. A priest magically appears and says, I have an idea for you.
Just happen to have a spare baby.
The mother has just died. So why don't we give
natural causes.
Your lovely wife this beautiful child to raise as her own?
She'll never know.
Never know the difference. Never. So Damien enters the family, which is a rich American family, from that point on. And they don't know about the fact that he is the Antichrist because, he can't talk. He's a baby. He's not going to say, hey, excuse me, guys, I'm the Antichrist.
He's
just letting you know.
Satan.
But it was released in the theatres in June 1976, and The Omen received mixed reviews, I wonder why, from the critics.
Yeah, John, we watched it last night. We did a watch party, so we had lots of us on there commenting all the way through. It was hilarious.
So, and it was a commercial success, grossing over $60 million at the box office.
Which was huge back in the 70s.
And it became one of the highest grossing films in 1976. The film earned 2 Oscar nominations. Oh, don't tell me it was for the
special
nanny.
Effects.
Oh, please, not the nanny.
The naughty nanny.
The eyes. They did a lot of eye shots in the movie. You've got to watch it. If you haven't watched it for a while, watch it. And it was number 16 on Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments.
Like Jodie's comment was, it's funny they didn't notice the tattoo of 666 on the baby's head.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
There's a plot flaw.
It did look a little bit like Ringworm when it was shown. So maybe they did think that there was something a little bit funny. And of course, The Omen wasn't the only Omen movie because it did spawn, good word,
Omen Trout,
Damien Omen 2, and then Damien Omen 3, The Final Conflict, and Damien Omen 4, The Awakening, with a remake in 2006. Yeah, first ones are always the best. So we kind of know the whole story of it. Damien goes through these families and, causes havoc and destruction and whatever, from the get-go, even as a child. He's creepy. One of the scenes we watched last night is Damien and his mum locked in this car going through one of those open-air zoos where you drive through and all the animals are around. Oh, yes. And the animals start to freak out. And that was quite scary.
The monkeys were throwing poo.
Yeah. So it follows the American diplomat Robert Thorne, who gets posted to England. And, of course, this priest turns up and, the whole baby caper and everything.
Looks remarkably like Doctor Who, may I add.
No, that was a photographer.
Oh, the photographer turned up, but that's the priest. Oh, sorry, my head, am I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And... so they go on this everything sort of is fine to begin with. The child does a couple of creepy things, but nothing that a kid of that age wouldn't do anyway. But this Father Spoleto that originally told Robert Thorne to take this child then appears and starts going on about, you must kill the child because the child is the Antichrist. And of course Robert goes, you're crazy, you're mad, yeah. But there's the photographer in the background that takes these weird photographs, and everyone involved has like things going through their heads or through their bodies. And
yes,
one of the best scenes is when the spoiler
alert,
the photographer gets decapitated. That's really good. We could actually do a scene out of that movie. I think
reenact
it. I think we could. Now, do you have the clip? The trailer.
Have the clip. Now,
do you have the trailer,
guys? You have to bear with me while I go through this whole share screen.
So for those listening on the podcast, we're now just going to run the trailer that appeared in the 1970s.
Here it comes.
It's gripping.
Gripping what? Why can't we hear it? Oh, because we don't have the headphones on. They'd be able to hear it. He doesn't want to go to church. I can tell.
No,
yeah.
Mummy.
So he said last night he's heard what the priests do to them in church. He said, I'm not going in there. Yeah, there's Doctor Who. Doctor Who, Doctor Who. Red rum, red rum.
Cheeky little boy, isn't he? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So we are showing the trailer here for those that are watching live. And by the time they've seen this trailer, they've seen the whole movie.
Yeah, practically. I don't know if they'll be able to hear that on there. It's a bit of dead air for the people who are listening on the Oh, there goes.
There we go.
John Pertwee being stabbed by a sword. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, how do I get back to StreamYard? And then we go there. Is it still going? Oh no, that's just all right. There we are. We're back.
Yes, we're back. We're back. Did you enjoy that? Does that make you really want to run out and watch it? It's on YouTube. You can, by all means, watch it with some friends. That way you can talk about it and have popcorn. But what I want to get onto, I mean, in the end, the issue is everyone dies of any importance, except for Damien. Sorry.
And he smirks.
And he then gets handed over to the President of the United States, where he then gets raised that little bit further. Yeah. So he enters into politics. And interestingly, the whole premise towards the end
they had no sound either.
About the Antichrist in politics is a little bit spooky with what's happening now in America. Just saying.
You know, I thought that was that Doctor Who as well, but it actually wasn't. It was. I don't think it was him. I'll have to look up IMDb and double check. But I looked and went, oh, Doctor Who's here. We'll get everything fixed. Sorry that the sound didn't work, guys. I'm not quite sure how to do that. I have to learn. Anyway.
So I just want to enlighten you on these movies that have these horror themes, and then they seem to be cursed.
Oh, I
so
love
we
the
have these
curse.
cursed stories about, you know, all the things that go wrong because they're
Who got gonorrhea?
Yeah, doing these horrible things, right? Yeah. So just checking that sound.
Oh, it's probably still playing in the background. They can't hear it anyway, so it's fine.
It is, yeah.
Go on now.
So.
Yeah, poor Roddies do get a bad rap. I do like the
Omen. The Omen has a reputation as being one of the most cursed productions in film history. So even when The Omen was just an idea floating around the Hollywood stratosphere, Bernard had received a grave warning. According to the Los Angeles Times, an advertising executive named Bob Munger had approached him with an idea involving the Antichrist, and Munger pitched the concept with caution. And Bernard said he warned us that he thought the devil didn't want us to make this movie. Yeah. So in later interviews, both Munger and Bernhard recalled how they predicted the curse in these early moments. Now, you know, when you do something like that, you're actually creating the one thing that you're not wanting to have happen. So they've actually brought the curse into life, haven't they? So he said, if you make this movie, you're going to have some problems. If the devil's greatest single weapon is to be invisible, and you're going to do something which is going to take away his invisibility to millions of people, he's not going to want that to happen. Bernhard recalled the devil was at work and he didn't want that film made. Now, why wouldn't the devil want that film to be made? You would think that he would be appreciative of the star status that he was receiving.
And the fact that he survived the attempts made on him and was at loose in the world.
Yes. So maybe it was like, you know, no, I don't want my secrets to come out, so I better stay under the radar rather than you telling everyone that there's a little child wandering around with 666
on his scalp.
And they never worked out what the last 6 was about. Because the 6 and the 6 was the 6th of July birth date of the child. But what was the last 6 about? You know, we had 666.
It was the 6th
of June. 6th of June.
And he was turning 6, wasn't it?
When his powers came about. I don't know.
Fancy maybe a 6-year-old with powers, God forbid.
Maybe some of you might know what the last 6 is about.
That's what we're talking about tonight, Gypsy. Oh, The Exorcist. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're not. We're on The Omen, aren't we?
Yes.
Oops.
So the trouble ignited before the film even began production. The perceived catalyst was the tragic suicide of lead actor Gregory Peck's son. How
was he
awful.
In the movie?
No. Oh. Gregory Peck was. He was Robert Thorne, who had shot himself in the head in June 1975, just 2 months before the first days on set. When Peck flew to London for the role, his plane was struck by lightning.
Oh, wow.
A few weeks later, executive Mark Neufeld boarded a flight from LA. His plane was also struck by lightning, and he referred to the experience as the roughest 5 minutes I've ever had on an airliner.
Yeah, he was born at 6 a.m. on the 6th of the 6th.
Right, okay. Thank you, Jodie. Still, production on The Omen lurched forward. Bernhard began wearing a cross on set. Well, that's going to help. At one point, the team had hired a small plane for some aerial filming, but the vessel was switched over to another client at the last minute. The plane reportedly crashed on takeoff, killing everyone on board.
Oh, my God. So they were saved from that plane taking off and the crew being killed because it got taken over by a different client.
Yes.
So why didn't they think of that as, oh, we have good luck on this? he got struck by lightning in the plane. They all survived. That's good luck.
I don't know. More ominous circumstances seemed to plague the production. Neufeld, whose plane had already been struck by lightning, was staying at the London Hilton with his wife. The building was bombed by the Irish Republican Army in September of that year. As filming rolled on, so did the disasters. One particularly chilling zoo scene.
Oh, a zoo scene.
Had a group of wild baboons reacting violently to Damien's presence. According to director Richard Donner, Damien's mother, played by actress Lee Remick, was legitimately terrified while filming the sequence.
I don't blame her.
She looked so scared.
I don't blame her.
For the safety of the cast and crew, an animal trainer had been brought on to deal with the baboons involved in the scene. There were hundreds of them.
They were everywhere. They weren't doing a thing they were told to do.
He was killed the day after we shot there, Bernard recalled. He was killed by a tiger. He grabbed him by the head and killed him instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
I agree, Jodie.
Now, even after the film was finished, the curse seemed to live on, following those involved with it and inflicting them with unspeakable tragedies. The film's initial release was an obvious choice, June 6th, 1976, or 6676.
Hi, Kanoe. Kanoe, I think it is. It's not our tarot night tonight. That's on Thursday nights. Tonight is our ABC of Paranormal Strangeness, and we're looking at The Omen.
So in August of that year, a special effects genius named John Richardson got in a terrible car accident. He was in the Netherlands working on Richard Attenborough's A Bridge Too Far. In terms of The Omen, Richardson had executed a particularly gruesome decapitation scene. That's the one that I was talking about earlier with the photographer. Cheesy as when you look at it now. But anyway, Richardson had survived his car accident in Holland, but his passenger, assistant Liz Moore, hadn't been so fortunate. She had been beheaded. Wow. According to local reports, a sign in the vicinity clocked the distance to a nearby town. Omen, O-M-M-E-N, 66.6 kilometres.
That is a coinkydink. That's a huge coinkydink.
Oh. And one of the film's stuntmen, Alf Joint, that's a great name for a stuntman, isn't it? Alf Joint. Also went to work on A Bridge Too Far. He wound up in the hospital after one of his stunts went wrong.
But I imagine that would happen quite often with stuntmen.
Yeah. In one sequence, he was simply meant to jump from the roof to an airbag, but he seemed to fall abruptly and strangely when he woke up in hospital. He claimed he had been pushed by something.
Oh, a ghost.
Now we go on. And what became of Harvey Stephens, the young boy who portrayed Damien? Yes. He seems to have completely vanished.
I actually did see a picture of him the other day.
Shush. Back in 2001, AMC premiered a 90-minute documentary called The Omen Legacy. The piece rehashed many of the aforementioned stories and included interviews with the original cast and crew.
Would have been rollovers for him. He would have got more money out of that. Good stuff.
Stephens was nowhere to be found. I saw him 9 years ago, Bernhard said at the time. He was handsome and a wonderful boy. That would have been traumatizing because there is a scene where Robert Thorne, his father, takes him to the church because he has to stab him with these steely knives all over the place. And this poor child has to pretend to be scared. I reckon that child didn't have to pretend at all. And I reckon that would have literally scarred him for life. Yeah, I'm sure he's still around and out there. The executive producer said, we've really tried to find him. Stephens isn't missing, by the way. In fact, he returned to acting in 2006, right back to where his career started. He played a small role in the remake of The Omen, which starred Julia Stiles and Liev Schreiber, and was released on the 6th of the 6th, 06. Of course. As far as we know, nothing out of the ordinary happened during the production of the reboot.
Oh, how disappointing for them.
The quietude begs the question, is the curse of the omen real? Was it all a coincidence or just a case of bad luck? Only the devil knows.
Oh, God. Now, we've got a good question from Danielle there. Do dark movies attract dark energy?
Interesting question. What do we think?
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, let us know. What do you think? Do dark movies attract dark energy? You tell us.
I've seen The Omen so many times. Fascinating stories behind the original movie. Many, many coincidences. Yes. I know that dark movies attract a certain type of person to go and see them.
So Michelle Davies says no. Depends on how you sit to watch them too. Do you go into the movie and try and sort out what's going on and become really involved emotionally in the movie, or do you treat it like a piece of entertainment? It's self-fulfilling prophecy. Could be.
Thank you, Michelle. My personal thoughts are no, I don't think so. But I think if people are spinning yarns like Ghost Adventures did with their haunted demon house that Zach bought, and was saying anybody that watches this the demon will know and come and bring bad luck to them, then if you believe that, then anything bad that happens to you around that period of time while you still remember that movie, you will attribute to that demon, whether it was from the demon or not. I really don't think the demon has that much time to go and visit every single person that watches that movie, and it's just that your mind has now been taught to look for the bad things. Oh no, I've watched this movie. I wonder what bad things might happen to me now. Oh, I just broken glass. That must be the demon. Oh, I just got a splinter of glass in my finger. That must be the demon. Oh, I just got fined for speeding. That must be the demon. No, you shouldn't speed. Be more careful with your glass.
The issue is that we see this all the time on other forums where people are asking questions, and it must be a demon. It must be a demon. How about we take responsibility for the things and the stupid things that we do and don't try and attribute them to the demons that we allegedly think are around us all the time? What makes us so important that we think that all of these demons are hanging around us? Yep, so...
The demon is too busy chasing Zach Baggins around to haunt anyone else.
Yeah, but, there are legions of them, so there's plenty of them, apparently, so the Bible says. So there you go.
I think that it may also attract people who are looking for a scare. It's the sort of thing I'd go and watch. Because I'm wanting to see, especially when they say this is based on a true story, like the Amityville Horror. When I went to see that, it was a true story, and I sat there watching the blood drip out the walls and the glowing pig's eyes going, this is a true story, this actually happened. Then I did some research as I got older. So, yes, I don't think it attracts dark people, just people with fascination to the dark side. Yes, Danielle, I agree. Basically what Anne said.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched The Omen, I know it's taken you back to a time when technology and all of these special effects weren't as fabulous as they are today. But honestly, watch for the nanny. The nanny is the best out of the whole
This is
lot.
the 1976 version.
So, go back to the original and watch the original, because it is really worthwhile watching. Most definitely. So that concludes our first part for this evening, but please stay tuned and we will get Miss Anne to now talk a little bit to you all about Ouija boards. So, Miss Anne, before we start...
My favourite thing. Who has got a little bit of a flutter of fear in their heart right now as they look at this Ouija board? Be honest. What's this? My pet peeve is when at any time someone says they see a dark shadow, is straight away a demon. Yeah, that's right. It pisses me off too. No end. Mary Poppins. Yeah, she did look a bit like Mary Poppins, actually.
She looked nothing like Mary Poppins.
Oh, watch out for Margie. She was born in 1976. Was it on the 6th of June? Oh, Charmaine, yes. I've maybe I'm a bit of a demon, and I've converted all these people over onto Ouija boards. There we are. Stacey said yes, she did feel that little flutter when she saw that Ouija board. Sarah, yep. Oh my God, me too. And Kara's just laughing. Absolutely, the lounge room. Oh, the lounge room rug is a Ouija board. I want that. Yeah, excited and scared. Exactly, yes. Not June. Phew. All right.
Okay, so shall we? Can we tell them our little thing for the weekend? We can, can't we?
We can, because you just got.
Just hold on a minute. Let me start. Let me press. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2 of this evening and the ABC of Paranormal Strangeness, and we are up to the letter O, and we are just about to start talking with Anne Rekovich about Ouija boards and the terror.
That's what I was going to put on. I was going to put on my Ouija board t-shirt. I forgot.
That is going to be unleashed when we start talking about Ouija boards. No, don't. Please don't. But we have a little bit of exciting news that happened today.
It's more than a little bit.
Oh, finally. And before you all get into a bit of a huff about this, because, we actually do have permission, we are going to be live streaming from Maitland Jail on Friday night. Oh my God,
we're getting back in the jail.
We're allowed to go back for one night, and we will be live streaming from 7 to 7:30 and then 8 to 8:30 for anyone who wishes to join in our investigation night. So we've been begging and pleading for the last couple of weeks. And
for about 4 weeks, actually. It was only within a couple of days of the lockdown happening that we said to them, how about this? And we had attended a tourism online seminar, and they suggested, do live feeds from wherever you can. So we hit up Maitland Jail, and they said not at that stage, but they would eventually.
Now, we're not allowed to take anyone with us, unfortunately.
Sorry,
but
guys.
We will be taking you guys with us through our lens, the camera lens, and you'll be able to head on in with us and see what we do. So we're very, very thrilled. And look, the more people that join in, the better, because it will show Maitland Jail that we can produce something that will keep the interest and the history and the heritage alive and well of Maitland Jail, and keep people's interest in the site. So when they reopen, you can go in not only for our ghost tours, but for their heritage products. So yes, most definitely, that will be this Friday.
Is that the first?
Yes, this Friday, 7 till 7:30, and then we're going to change spots. And we will then go from 8 till 8:30.
Yes, and we've got a couple of experiments we're going to try.
And all of you can join in. That's the most important thing. It's going to be interactive.
Yep. All right, so on to me. Oh, my heavens. Well, isn't Ouija boards a touchy subject? Put, all those lovely pages, and we might be streaming to some of them now, where someone said, I'm thinking of using a Ouija board. What do you think? And the whole thing melts down.
Oh, there's a demon. There's a demon in every packet.
You'll lose your soul. I'll let you have that, so you can click on the comments as they come through. Yeah. If you've got questions, please feel free to ask. I am very passionate about my Ouija boards. I actually collect them, and look, they actually evolved from the spiritualism era, where the spiritualists were conversing with the dead, and they would hold seances, and everyone would hold hands, and the medium would speak. So this was a way of physically engaging the circle with them to have an experience, and then it became popular as a parlor game. So it's actually known as a spirit board or a talking board before it became a Ouija board, and that name was actually patented by Hasbro. But let me go back a little bit so I get you the other information. So it's a board with the letters of the alphabet.
Let me hold it.
That one glows in the dark. And it has the alphabet, yes and no, the numbers 0 to 9.
They're all going to...
No, sorry, one through to 9 to 0, whatever you want to call it. Yes, no. Sometimes it has hello, and sometimes it has goodbye. So as you can see, there's no hello on that one.
Yes, Michelle. Hasbro, the toy company.
Oh, I've got some stats for you on this. A very interesting stat that I'm coming to. And, of course, it has... Look, do you think I can find one now? I'll have to use my pink one. It uses a planchette. Now, this originated from, again, the spiritualists, where they used to use one of these with a pen through there. And it's called automatic writing. And everybody would put their fingers. I had one made by Susie. Mm-hmm. She made me one. And it would hopefully draw or spell out letters or words or things like that.
So that's through already.
Oh, you're getting the ghosties through already, are you? Good on you. She got the goosey bumps. All right, so that was the planchette. That is a small heart-shaped piece of wood or plastic. And it would spell out words. And people placed their fingers on the planchette, and it's moved around the board to spell. It was trademarked by Hasbro, but was often used generically, referring to any sort of talking board. So it might be this one. All right, so that one was called a psychic circle. And I actually have a bit of a funny story with that one when I bought it, because that was my first attempt at buying some sort of Ouija board because I was scared of them. I said to the lady, have you had any dark energy come through? How has it been stored?
Have you?
Did you? I did. And she said, we took it out of the box once and used it, never used it again, and nothing happened. So when I got it home, I poured rock salt into the box and I stored it in rock salt.
Hey, someone out there may believe that is a really great idea, and by all means, you go ahead and do it.
Well, I mean, that made me feel better. That made me feel better because I wanted to work with it and I wanted to learn. And the planchette for this one has just a little bit of a round life buoy thing. So that's one of my Ouija boards. I've lost my notes. Developed out of spiritualism. Spiritualism kicked off in the mid 1800s, around about 1848, with the Fox sisters, and they were getting raps and cracks and things happening from the walls of their house. But that's another whole story. And the spiritualists were using it for optimistic views of the future and afterlife.
Optimistic views. And Danielle, yes, you do need to open and close.
Yes, as you do the door to your house.
Yes, you wouldn't leave it open for anyone to walk in, would you?
As the spiritualism's popularity waned, the Ouija board emerged as a popular parlour game. There you go. And it was only in the 20th century.
That's the 1900s, for anyone that doesn't know.
That the Catholic Church and the horror movie industry rebranded the game as a doorway to the demonic. And boy, didn't everybody jump on board with that. Now, I want to show you something. This one is my pride and joy. I got this one all the way from America. And it's around about 100 years old. And that's the Wooden Planchette. You can see it's made by William Fold. It was then brought out by somebody else. There was actually a big family war over this. Hold on to that. No, sorry. Now, on the back of this, so this is before it was demonized, is a list of instructions. Oops. And I want to read these directions to you because this is what the Ouija board was originally intended for.
You will find it fascinating.
It is nothing to do with demons. Place the board upon the laps of 2 persons, lady and gentleman preferred. With the small table, with it on the small table. Place the fingers lightly but firmly without pressure upon the table. Now, they used to refer to that as a table. That's the planchette. I've lost my spot. The printing's so small. To allow it to move easily and freely. In from 1 to 5 minutes, the table will commence to move at first slowly, then faster, and will then be able to talk and answer questions, which it will do rapidly by touching the printed words or the letters necessary to form words and sentences with the foreleg or pointer. So,
that bit.
Yeah. Number 2. Care should be taken that one person only should ask questions at a time so as to avoid confusion, and the question should be put plainly and accurately. Still no mention of demons. 3rd, to obtain the best results, it is important that the person present should concentrate their minds upon the matter in question and avoid other topics. Now, this actually comes down to ESP as well, being able to influence it. Anyway, have no one at the table who will not sit seriously and respectfully. If you use it in a frivolous spirit, they're not talking about ghosts, I mean frivolously, asking ridiculous questions, laughing over it, you naturally get underdeveloped influences around you. Now, isn't that a very good
description
way of putting it?
Underdeveloped influence.
So you get the lower vibrational energies that will come in and muck around because you're mucking around. They want to have fun too. 4th, the Ouija is a great mystery, and we do not claim to give exact directions for its management. Neither do we claim that at all times and under all circumstances it will work equally well. But we do claim and guarantee that with responsible patience and judgment, it will more than satisfy your greatest expectation. 5th, in putting the table together, wet the tops of the legs and drive them firmly into the table. So that's the planchette.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified that.
The planchette is called a table.
Right.
Care should be taken that they are firm and tight. The board, no, it's the 6th. The board should be kept smooth and free from dust and moisture at all times upon the base, upon the ease with which the feet of the table can glide over the surface of the board. Rubbing it with a dry silk handkerchief just before using is advised. That's it. There's no talk about ghosts or entities. The clue that gives you what this game was used for is place the board upon your laps of 2 persons, lady and gentleman preferred. So we are talking the late 1800s, early 1900s, where a lady and a man courting would be supervised. They would be chaperoned. It was very rare that they would be allowed to come in contact with each other. So to sit, I'm just going to pop that out of the road for a second. So to sit with it like this, with each other, so pretend our knees are up there, it would probably, no. But if it's that way, they're like almost on top of each other.
Their kneecaps are touching. Their kneecaps are touching. How dare they?
It was a dating game.
Oh.
It was a courting game. That is what Ouija was invented for. Now, there's interesting thoughts on where the name Ouija came from. Somebody claimed that it was spelt out during a Ouija session and it named itself. Somebody else said that it was yes, oui, and ja in French and German. Yes, and that they named it. And then I heard from, I think it was an article that Robert Murch. Now, Robert Murch is knows everything
the
about
chairman of the board
of the talking board Historical Society, said that it was actually the girlfriend of somebody who named it. And that's where the name came from. So it was introduced by businessman Elijah Bond on July 1st, 1890, and the Ouija board was regarded as an innocent parlor game unrelated to the occult until American spiritualist Pearl Curran popularized it, used as a divining tool during World War One. Now, that would be where loved ones had died in another country and they were trying to make contact with them. So once again, it was still used in a positive way.
Yep.
Now, the common thought with this, for all the people go, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's dust. There are some ways that it could be influenced. First off, you might have a prankster on the table who is deliberately pushing it and pretending that they're not. And they're going, I swear to you, it's not me, I swear. And secondly, there is the unconscious desire of wanting it to answer a certain way. So if we're all thinking in our head, oh my God, it's going to say yes. It's going to say yes to this. Then everybody will be looking at the yes. And you know what it's like when you play tennis or golf. You've got to look to where you want it to go. Sure enough, the planchette will slide over there. Mm-hmm. Now, whether that be some sort of psychokinetic energy that the group is creating to get that momentum happening, or whether it's what they call an idiomatic, an unconscious movement of the hand and the muscles in the arm to push it in that certain direction. We don't know. Mm-hmm. Where am I up to? Some Christian denominations have warned against using Ouija boards, holding that they can lead to demonic possession. Occultists, on the other hand, are divided on the issue, with some saying that it can be a tool for positive transformation. Find out what your subconscious is really trying to tell you. Others reiterate the warnings of many Christians and caution inexperienced users against it. Well, I caution inexperienced users against using it as well, as I would with any piece of paranormal technology in a haunted location. Right, let me get over to the next page. So yes, it was 1901, Fuld started production of his own boards under the name Ouija, then it went to Charles Kennard. Now, I did notice that some of my boards had William Fuld, like this one here. Oh my God, this is huge.
I have one of those. There you are. The Mystifying Oracle.
And you can see here that it's Parker Brothers at this stage. Then we go to...
Oh, and this is a great picture on the back. Have a look at this one right here at the bottom for those watching. And here you can see the couple with the board on their knees. Yep, so this is what Anne was talking about before.
Oh, and what's this one? So that one's Parker Brothers. This is I've even got one here that's brand new, never opened in its box. And that one's Parker Brothers.
And it says here, Ouija talking board said, gives you entertainment you have never experienced. It draws the two people using it into close companionship and weaves about them a feeling of mysterious isolation. Unquestionably the most fascinating entertainment for modern people and modern life. Weird and mysterious, surpasses in its unique results, mind reading, clairvoyance, and second sight.
And of course, then we have the Ouija boards that you can bring out for your kiddies to use. This is the Barbie pink Ouija board with its pink planchette. I do quite like this one in my collection. I normally bring these out at ghost hunts because people get really worried about Ouija boards being there, and I bring this out and they laugh.
But we have seen boards exactly like this too with angels on them.
Yes.
So does that make a board? That's a good question for you guys. If there were angels on this with the same sort of setup, would that make the board more respectable for you?
Is it okay to use it if it has a picture of an angel or is called an angel board? Hi, Amber. And thank you, Johanna. That's really nice. Now, this pink one comes with things. They can pull out a card and ask a question. if I could trade places with any famous person, who would it be? Will I win the lottery someday? Very, very deep questions. Will I be a top athlete someday? If the Ouija board could give me a pet, what would it be? Hellhound. All right, pop that one away there. And of course, then there were spin-offs. And as Renata was saying, that there was the spin-offs of the spirit boards, the angel boards. There's some with wolves on them. There's some with fairies on them.
Yeah, fairy boards.
And then we have like ones like this. This is the mystic tray. Let me show you the mystic tray.
Everyone needs a mystic tray.
So you can serve your horses doovers on your mystical tray. Yes, it is a tray. Can you see the indentation? I'm going to drop that. See the indentations on there? So it's some, obviously somebody spilt some demon juice on the side there.
You said juice, didn't you?
Juice.
So, yeah, once you've eaten your horse's doovers and taken the cheese and the onion, remember those onions, the coloured onions?
Oh, the cocktail onions.
Cocktail onions.
The red ones are the best.
The orange, you can use your board to summon spirits.
Yes. Hang on, what's down here? Oh, here's my planchette for the mystic hand with a hairdryer down the bottom. I don't know what the hairdryer's doing, but so that's that one. Oh my heavens, so many. And then of course we go to the glow-in-the-dark Ouija boards, which, like, I think the one that Renata had up before that I had was a glow-in-the-dark, and they come with a glow-in-the-dark planchette as well, so that you can sit in the absolute darkness and play with your Ouija board.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. But then we go even to more spin-offs, and I don't think Renata's even seen this one.
This is a new one.
This is the prediction rod.
Oh!
Now, this is a humdinger. We actually used this when we did...
Can we use it at the jail on Friday night?
I don't know if you'll really want to.
Oh, look,
right.
It's got things.
It's got planetary divination, fate, zodiac numerology, and it's got all these little cards and things that we're meant to put up into place. But let me show you. Hold the board, Renata. So for the people who are listening, I'm getting out a device that looks like an arrow. Looks like a giant Cupid's arrow, and like a divining sort of handle to place on it. So what you do is you clip the arrow into the holding device.
Oh, please let us play with this.
Yeah,
please.
all right. We'll have a play with this at Maitland Jail. So it's sort of like holding the handles of a bicycle with an arrow suspended from underneath it, and it's supposed to point to
magically
to the words. Can you please point to the most evil person in the room?
It's not going.
So I went to a stage where I collected sort of various games and things. I've got more up there, but I just had to show that one because that one's been in retirement for a while.
Michelle, a humdinger. Yes. It hasn't been used since the 1950s.
Oh, God, where's my notes? Thank you. All right, so, the enthusiasm for this sort of thing actually peaked in the 1960s. So a lot of my...
that would have been just before The Exorcist and all of those movies.
Excuse me!
Oh, sorry.
And it actually outsold Monopoly. The Ouija board outsold the Monopoly game. So then we get to 1971, where William Peter Blatty wrote The Exorcist, and then the film came out in 1973, which cemented the Ouija board's sinister reputation. And it was all based on a supposed diary, which I don't think anyone's actually seen, by the Jesuit priest that Blatty met in Georgetown University. And the boy had been introduced to the Ouija board by his aunt, who was interested in spiritualism And the first signs of the boy's possession began shortly after the aunt died, and then Blatty's story filled in the gaps. So, remember what we said, spiritualism, it was actually used as a positive thing. So she was showing him proof of the afterlife and that spirits could connect and talk to you. And I'm sure she tried to communicate with him during the Ouija board, but that doesn't mean that it was demonic. And I think that the case of this boy, there was actually a boy, they had it as a girl in the movie, but in actual fact it was a boy that went through this. And it turned out that he did have mental health issues. So now you would think with all of that going on that would put people off Ouija boards. No, in actual fact, the nation became, or the world became obsessed with exorcisms and the demonic from the 1970s. So the demonic reputation only enhanced the Ouija board's popularity with adolescents. Here comes the next big problem. The board wasn't just a way to talk to a dead relative. It also became a way to conjure up dark forces and dismiss them from the safety of one's basement. Ella suggests, this is the person I got this from, that as a window to the demonic, the Ouija board allows teenagers to participate directly in myth. Yeah. So it's mythology. A lot of these demons come from mythology, and it's a way of them actually taking part of something that is supposed to be a myth.
Well, I mean, years ago, these children of the same age would have been thought of as adults, but they would have sat around campfires at night and listened to these myths being told by adults.
Yes. So it's almost like a quasi-religious experience, because if they're talking about demons, that is a Christian perspective, angels and demons, in which the board conjures up demonic anti-world that brave adolescents can challenge and reject.
Yep.
Because adolescents are feisty shits. Oh, now I've got some stories for you about Ouija board possessions and things.
Oh, nice.
I thought you'd like that.
Oh, nice. Let's
go.
go.
The largest outbreak of illness attributed to a Ouija board took place between October 2006 and June 2007 at a girls-only Catholic boarding school near Mexico City. Students at the Girls' Town School reported a variety of symptoms, including headaches and difficulty walking. Right. Because every Ouija board does that. They make it difficult for you to walk. In other words, they can't be bothered getting off their asses. Some students could only walk with the help of their friends. Symptoms would suddenly go away when they had a birthday party or an outing to go to, and just as suddenly reoccur when they had chores to do. Of course, of a student population of 4,000,
holy cow,
512 were affected.
Wow, I bet you they were all friends.
A psychiatrist got involved, a Mexican psychiatrist, Naciela Loa Zavala, I'm sorry if I screwed up that name, investigated the outbreak and diagnosed as a case of mass
hysteria,
psychogenic illness, aka mass hysteria, and traced it back to a student who had used a Ouija board to try and influence the outcome of a school basketball game.
Oh, dear.
She was calling up the demon of basketball.
Oh, dear.
Writing in 2010 issue of International Journal of Psychoanalysis, she noted that the accused girl, Maria, was expelled for using the board, but before leaving, she cursed the school. I think they found their demon. Soon afterwards, the symptoms appeared because the school was cursed. A belief in the reality of demons and spirits, the involvement of the Ouija board, and rumours that Maria's mother was a witch,
of course, jeez,
appeared to have generated extreme stress amongst the school of all girls.
It's a Catholic school.
A Catholic school.
And a Mexican Catholic school, they're pretty religious.
Dr. Zavala observed that even before the outbreak, the school was a hotbed of tension and hormones, as it operated under strict rules where even minor infractions could result in dismissal.
I remember. I hear them. I went to a Catholic school.
So did I.
The nuns, yes.
I went to that Catholic school.
The
first few victims of the strange malady were only affected Maria's fellow Ouija board players, but soon spread across the whole school.
Yep.
Teenage girls. Okay.
I thought we were going to be cursed at one stage when I went to a Catholic school, and what happened, I know this is off topic, but it's quite funny. We were told, because we were kind of special students, we got on with the nuns really well, and we were they had two statues, one of Mary and one of Jesus, that had to be removed because they were old. They were getting new ones. They were made of plaster, and we went out the back and we had to smash them.
What?
So much fun! But we had to smash Jesus in the head and Mary in the head. We'd have it. Can you imagine, like 13, 14-year-old girls having that task? Oh my God!
They would have just found another spot for them.
I know, right? I know, right? And we thought we were going to be cursed. We went right next door to the church and did 10 Hail Marys.
Oh. All right, have we got time for a few more stories? Is that okay? I know that I've
gone
a little bit. I don't have a lot more.
Go ahead.
Okay,
they're all enjoying it.
This is Justin, 32, from New Jersey. I'm not picking on our beautiful American people. There just seems to be a lot of stories from there. Justin played with a Ouija board one day with several of his friends. They asked questions, but instead of the planchette moving to certain letters, it began to move in strange pattern. It went to all four corners of the board and made an X, he tells Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest, it's a reliable source.
Oh, yes!
Reliable source for all your information.
Digest. Well, back in the 40s and the 50s,
then it just went in circles. The next time he used the board, it was a different friend at the house. Again, the planchette moved in strange pattern. I felt like it was some kind of hex, he said. Later that night, when everyone else was sleeping, he felt a forceful hand grab his arm and wake him up. Everyone in the house was sound asleep. I've got a theory. First off, he was interpreting in his own mind what was happening on the board.
Oh, pish.
Do you know what I think it was? I think they were trying to play noughts and crosses with him, and they got cross and went, I was just trying to play noughts and crosses with you. This is the problem that people interpret, because he had a fear of Ouija boards. He shouldn't have been playing with a Ouija board. If you've got a fear of it, don't play with it.
That's right. Don't play with anything. don't touch anything you shouldn't.
Your hands are going to go hairy. Don't play with it. So that was his bias that has created the fear. Nobody else had any issues. It was just him. And that was probably when that hypnagogic state.
Isn't that interesting that young girls and boys aren't supposed to touch each other's parts, right?
That's not,
but
they can smash Jesus with a hammer.
I remember that till the day I die. Oh, it was so good.
Oh, all right. Hashtag I smashed Jesus in the face. Right, now I'm going on to Vince, 30, from Delaware. When Vince was little, one of his friends goaded him into playing with a Ouija board together. Young Vince didn't expect anything out of the ordinary to happen, so he went along with it. Once they started to play, however, the lights began to flicker and the air around them grew cold. A spirit began to communicate with them through the board. Vince believes it was the spirit of a murdered Russian man. As you do.
You do. Yeah.
Another issue. They forced him, peer pressure, into playing with the Ouija board when he didn't want to. They knew he was fearful and they mucked with him.
Yeah. And that can do disturbing damage to a young person's mind, and their fear factor will just skyrocket from that point on. Terrible thing to do to your friends.
Last story. Liam, 17, from New Jersey. As a child, Liam was at summer camp one year.
Of course.
When he and some of the other boys, they drew their own Ouija board on a large sheet of paper because no demon would come through that. As soon as we started using it, he says we heard knocking coming from inside one of the lockers. That's it. That's the end of the story.
That's the end of the story?
But once again, 17. So he said 1 year. So it would have been a few years before that. It's not the right age to be doing that sort of thing. Anyway, to conclude my episode on Ouija boards, there is no scientific evidence that Ouija boards can connect to the spirit world. Or that even that world exists. Although I doubt that. I think this is coming from a scientific journal. This is coming from psychologytoday.com. But if the participants believe they do, the anxiety of believing they are contacting spirits or demons can be overwhelming for some, triggering trance states and even episodes where people may hallucinate and lose touch with reality.
Especially if you're doing a few drugs or drinking alcohol, which is what most young kids do when they're going to play with the Ouija board.
Weed. I'm drinking tonight some apple cider vinegar. I don't know if you can see that.
I hope
apple cider vinegar.
Have you diluted that, or are you going straight?
No, it's a drink. It's got mixed with ginger spice and something else.
Oh, very nice.
It's very nice, actually. I've lost my spot. People should tread carefully when using Ouija boards because of the powerful emotions they can evoke. For instance, sometimes Ouija boards are used to attempt to communicate with deceased loved ones. This is why I suggest that those with a history of anxiety disorders, dissociative or trance states, and who have an absolute certainty in the existence of the supernatural would be better off steering clear of Ouija-type games. It is better to be safe than sorry.
And Sack says, how do finish clossing the circle of the Ouija board or remove your energy from it so no harm comes to or come through and stay outside?
Okay.
Can you give info, please?
Sure. So when we use Ouija boards, we basically sit at the table and we make sure that we have not been intoxicated or under any sort of substance abuse.
Hi, Mr. Andrew Picard.
Not that ever happens. And we state our intentions clearly before we start. Some people like to say a prayer. We ask protection from our guides. We ask our guides to bring forward the information, and that if anyone does want to communicate, could our guides please bring them to the table and make sure that they are okay, legitimate. And then we will allow communication. If anything untowards happens, and sometimes entities will get bumped off the table when they're communicating, sometimes nothing happens at all, and sometimes it's gobbledygook. But if somebody comes onto the table and starts mucking around, and normally that's what I find that they are, that they're jokers, pranksters that come onto the table, then I will tell them to go. I will ask the spirit team to remove them. And generally that's what happens. Sometimes they sneak back on again. And we'll have a laugh with them. We'll have a bit of fun. I don't want to, what's the word? Not abuse, but
offend.
I don't want to offend them. They want to come and have a good time, but we just say it's not the right time. It's inappropriate. We're in the middle of a conversation. It's bad manners. I talk to them as if they were a living person. And if they won't go away, I close down the session. I thank the spirit team, ask them to close down the session for the night. And I like to actually just slap the board to break the energy or the connection. That is my symbol to say that the session is finished. Some people like to turn the planchette upside down like that to say that the session is finished. Some people like to take the planchette away from the board. It's up to you. That's your symbol, your sign. So your subconscious then says this session is shut and there is no more communication. The board is never the problem. It's the people using it.
And like anything, like any tool, as Anne said, the idea is to learn about how to use it properly before you do use it, and be respectful of what you do. But of course, ask 20 people and at least 10 will say to you, yeah, I used a Ouija board and I had a really bad experience.
Really bad experience.
Really bad experience.
And then
how old were you? I was probably about 11 or 12.
Yeah.
We were hiding in my mum's cupboard. My parents were away for the weekend. We made a Ouija board. We watched a movie and then decided to use the Ouija board. And
they've spooked themselves out.
Like the Omen that we were talking about earlier, you can actually start this wave of fear, and it just then continues to spread. And of course, talking about Ouija boards and the fear of Ouija boards, there will be people who you will never, ever, ever be able to convince that it is nothing more than a piece of cardboard. You will never.
Yeah, and those people,
and those people should not use the board.
And there's people who will just regurgitate information that they've been told by somebody else with no knowledge behind it whatsoever. So I hope this evening that we have opened your mind to the possibilities of what the Ouija board actually is. I hope you enjoyed my collection that I've dug out and shown you.
Now, before you finish up, Danielle is actually asking, is there a course? And actually, we are going to be running a course on how to use a Ouija board later on this year. It was one of our face-to-face classes that have now all been cancelled because of COVID-19, but we will be running it online. So please.
Hopefully we might be able to by then, because I think that was in October or September. We might be able to run it face-to-face. We will see, but we'll definitely do one online as well.
Definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely. For anyone that's interested, there is a lot of information out there, and information gives you power and control over everything that you do. So the idea is, with all of these sort of things, especially when you're dabbling in the occult, superstition, in the paranormal, in all of that sort of stuff, learn what you are dealing with first. Yeah, very important.
So we'd like to thank our sponsor, who is Matt Tones from psychicmediumsydney.com.au. He builds websites and he does an amazing job. I would also like to introduce you all to Spirit Talk Australia, which is our new initiative where we are working with the beautiful Lady Tamara.
Yes.
Who is the Witch of Oz, and she is bringing some of the most venerable elders in the magical community from around the world to speak with us. She's just a little bit wow. And that has only just started. We spoke to a lovely lady called Ellen, who is a druidess, and she is the head of her order. And she has written many, many books. And we also spoke to Adam about crystals and essential oils. So you look up Spirit Talk Australia. Please like that page and subscribe to it. And what else have we got? We've got Thursday night is our
Tarot,
and Friday night is live from Maitland Jail, and then we'll be back again on Monday night with our ABC of Paranormal Strangeness, which will be the letter LMNOP. P! So we'll think of something to do between now and then. So thank you all for joining us this evening. You want to press the magic button on there?
I will.
And if you could please like our page. So many of you are following us but haven't actually liked our page yet. So just pop over there and press that like button and make sure you follow us. And also, if you would like to support us financially, we do have a Patreon page under Frightfully Good Paranormal Spiritual Community. And we have some wonderful grand poobahs who are supporting us at $10 a month to help us do what we love to do and to bring this sort of content to you. So
good night.
Good night. We've
everyone.
gone over time. I apologise, but Ouija is such a passionate topic for me. I just can't stop. So we love you all. We'll see you on the dark side. Be good.
Bye.